What's up, guys? Welcome to the Home for Infinite Losers podcast. Thank you. Thank y'all. Fresh off of a fresh Texans win on Monday Night Football, 30-6. Fuck Aaron Rodgers and fuck the Steelers. Very proud of my boys. Very proud of that defense. And we just keep it moving along. Hopefully next time I do a pod, it'll be after we won an AFC championship game. But I'm not gonna try to speak that into existence because that's just gonna end up making me fall flat on my face. You know what? Hey, do you guys remember when you used to be able to go over to a friend's house and just turn on the game and sit next to them and play the game with them? Remember that? Remember split screen? Remember fighting games whenever you didn't have to bring over your entire console to fucking play with somebody? I remember that. So today, I'm going to be talking about something that feels like it's quietly disappearing and a lot of people won't even realize it until it's already fucking dead. I'm going to be talking about couch co-op games because some of my best memories don't involve fucking headsets, lobbies, matchmaking, all of that other stuff. They involve the people that were like sitting right next to me. When I was a kid, my first real couch co-op experience wasn't like an RPG or like a adventure game. It was WCW versus NWO World Tour on N64. Me and all my brothers, all on the same couch, same TV, same screen. We were just like arguing, laughing, trash talking, and, just basically button mashing. But it was fun. And then it also taught me how to actually play a game. Because anytime before that, this is like when I'm 8 or 9 years old. Anytime before that, it was just me watching my dad play when he was with my mom or just watching my older cousins play things. But that first wrestling game, I would just pick Hannibal all the time. And then later on, I started picking Ric Flair. But it wasn't just a wrestling game. It was competition. It was some bonding for us, learning how to win and how to lose. Before we even got into football, this is how we learned our sportsmanship and how to trash talk without starting an actual fight. Most of the time. But not long after that, I picked up Ocarina of Time. That's not a co-op game. That was just basically me no-lifing my first real single-player adventure, and I loved it. And everybody who's played that game loves it, so, you know how it is. The thing that I realized even back then, though, was as much as I loved beating that game, sharing games felt better than finishing them alone. Watching someone struggle with a dungeon and then passing the controller to my brother or passing the controller to my older cousin DJ, and especially the fire temple, that was so fun for us to beat together. And he would give me advice that might be terrible, or I'd tell him to do something that might make him die. But we would celebrate when someone would finally beat a boss, especially that fire dragon. I forgot if it was Volga or Volga. I'm not entirely sure how to pronounce the name. But that's when it clicked for me that gaming wasn't just about the immersion aspect of it. It was also about the connection. So then Super Smash Bros. On the N64 happened. Now, if you grew up with Smash on the couch, you already know that game just didn't exist. It took over households. It started arguments, and it was just me, my brothers, my cousins, my friends. And, funny story, the only time my grandmother ever picked up a controller was to play Super Smash Brothers. She had a black and white turn dial TV. We plugged in the cable cord to the back of the TV, and we had to turn the dial to channel 3 to get it to go to where the N64 station was, because I think on those old TVs, every channel 3 was like the channel that you would see whatever you plugged into the cable cord. So we plugged it in and we were playing it, and I don't remember what we were saying to her, but we eventually pushed her to pick up the controller and as Donkey Kong, and she did like 2 moves. She laughed and then she gave it back to us. But that's just like a funny story about my grandmother. But there were no ranked matches back then, no patches, no metas, just items on 4 players, chaos. Somebody always picks, Kirby or Captain Falcon. And if somebody picked Captain Falcon, they would get jumped like immediately. But Smash was special because we didn't really care about who was like good, even though I was the best. It rewarded reactions, adaption, and just good vibes. Even if you lost, you were still there, and you can talk and laugh and argue about it because you're sitting right next to each other. And plot revenge for the next match, obviously. You don't get that through a headset. That's why people love tournaments, because you can go to a tournament and be around other people that love the exact same game as you. So it's there's like a camaraderie when you play a game with someone in person that you don't get through a headset. So fast forwarding to the PlayStation 2 era, let me say this clearly. The PlayStation 2 generation was the golden age of co-op. Again, me and everybody that knew me were all at each other's houses playing Dynasty Warriors for hours, Dragon Ball Z Budokai, all 3 Tenkaichis. Of course, you have to have those. And that was like the game in our family was Tenkaichi 2 for a long time. And then Tenkaichi 3 came out. We were already a little older, but we still played it, but not as much as Tenkaichi 2. That game was the one for us, especially with that Trunks cover. We also played Bloody Roar 3. I was what is his name? Xiao? His name started with an X, but he was my main, and then the wolf guy, Yugo, was my second main. He was cool. Taraj main, the lion guy. Tekken, it's a staple. Tekken 3, I played on PS1 for a while. My dad had bought it for us. And then we could play it on PS2. I remember when the PS2 was backwards compatible. But for some reason, our mom knew our dad bought it for us, and she just she would let us play T for Teen games and for mature games, but that specific game, she'd be like, no, it has blood on it. You can't play it. And I'd be like, Mom, there's literally no blood on this game. Like, the only blood that's on this game is from like battle damaged characters from like the cinematics. Soul Calibur 2, obviously. NBA Street 2. DJ, shout out to my cousin DJ. When he lived with us for a while, all he would play was NBA Street 2 in my room. And then like random party games that nobody remembers, but everybody loved. Sonic Riders, PlayStation All-Stars, even Mario Party. That game seems boring, but it's fun when you have people around you. Dynasty Warriors, for us, deserves its own moment just because that game was built for couch co-op. Just 2 players tearing through thousands of enemies and egging each other on, reviving each other, and just talking trash when someone gets beat up by a random general. But it was the same screen, same mission, or you could go against each other in the same energy. And fighting games, listen, when you come to our family, basically our entire family with fighting games is the dojo. So when you come over here, whether it's Smash, Fighters, Street Fighter 6, all of the Street Fighters, honestly, for me. MK is the one for me. Do not play me at MK11. So just know that with us. But we didn't just play fighting games. We developed rivalries. Me and Mike are kind of at a thing right now, but he's up on me. That boy is good. But MK is me. Every other fighting game Mike has up on me. But it always gives you somebody to strive to be not better than, but just to make you better. And it's cool when you learn something and you hit that first attack and you just like go on the combo that you practiced for a long time. That's my own little tangent, but we love fighting games over at our family. And you can't replicate the feelings that you get when you're sitting next to somebody. You can't replicate that online. A lot of younger gamers don't, because I'm at that age now. So a lot of younger gamers don't realize that online gaming wasn't always accessible. So when the PS2 and the Xbox first came out with the online gaming, not everybody had that. And not everybody had good internet. So what we did is we just played together. And it wasn't a downgrade. It was an experience. You didn't need headsets or friends list or updates. You just needed a controller, a couch, and somebody willing to lose. Even with Halo 3 and Gears of War showed up, the games that pushed online hard, they still respected couch co-op and split-screen campaigns and local multiplayer. They understood something important. So online gaming was an option. It wasn't a replacement. So the shift came when PS3 and Xbox 360 really started exploding with their online gaming. Because PS3 had free online and Xbox Live became standard. Internet access skyrocketed, and slowly and quietly something changed. Couch co-op stopped being a priority. It really did. But it wasn't immediately, and it wasn't overnight, just gradually. Games started launching with no split screen, no local multiplayer, or some bullshit version hidden behind menus. Developers began designing games assuming everyone had their own console, everyone played. And I'm recording in my car at the laundromat, guys, so I'm sorry if you hear cars. But everyone had their own console, everyone, plays online, everyone prefers matchmaking. These are the things that developers began assuming, which was not the case. What we lost wasn't just like a feature. We lost like a social ritual, bro. Like, I miss like hanging out and just being like, man, I wonder what Mike's doing. Let me call him. Hey, you want me to come over? We could play this and hang out and talk about shit. Like, sometimes we just would play matches and just not even be paying attention to the screen and just talking about shit. So it's not just playing the game. It's like getting up off of your ass and going over and hanging out with your friends and playing games. So my biggest gripe is couch co-op isn't just rare these days. It's like it's non-existent to most developers. If you want to play with friends, everybody needs their own console now, their own copy, their own internet, their own house. That's not playing together. That's parallel gaming. That's gaming in a parallel universe. Even when a game does have co-op, it's usually hidden or complicated or, again, locked behind weird steps or menus or just clearly an afterthought. You got to Google, does this game have co-op? And then read Reddit threads and then find out, oh, yeah, but only in one mode and player 2 can't do anything. That's crazy. Right now, the games I can reliably play with friends are just fighting games. I play Stardew Valley with my wife. I play Yu-Gi-Oh! But even that, I have to have another console. But luckily, Yu-Gi-Oh! You can do on your phone, anywhere. That's it. Why is it that in 2025, with all of this technology, it's harder to sit on a couch and play together than it was 20 years ago? 20 years ago, it was easier to play on the couch with your friend than it is today. It's not like nostalgia for nostalgia's sake. Couch co-op matters because it introduces gaming to new players. It creates some memories. It lowers the barrier to entry. It turns games into events. Some of the best gamers I know didn't even start online. They started sitting next to someone better than them, getting worked, learning, and improving. Couch co-op teaches sportsmanship, communication, patience, and adaptability. It is not just fun, it is formative. And losing that means losing one of gaming's most powerful social tools. Now, I'm not naive. I get why couch co-op declined. Online's more profitable. DLC and microtransactions thrive online. And split screen is harder to optimize when you're creating a game. And development costs are higher. But the thing is, just because something is harder doesn't mean it's not worth preserving. Some of the best relationships started off very, very rocky. Not saying mine did. But also some of the best friendships started off rocky. I have a few friendships that started because I hated the guy. I remember I got in a fight with a guy in kindergarten over door holder, and we ended up becoming best friends all through my entire school when I was going to school up until 12th grade. But, we become adults, things change. But that happened, and that was a rocky start. So just because something's hard doesn't mean it's not worth working towards, especially when it's part of what made gaming special in the first place. Couch co-op didn't die because players didn't want it. It died because it wasn't monetized easily, and that's a problem. I'm tired of waiting for people to notice this. Couch co-op needs a revival, not as a gimmick and not as just like nostalgia bait. Like make an indie game or something, but make sure you have couch co-op as an option on there. Even Star Wars Episode 3, the video game, had a couch co-op mode, and it was an adventure game. So, we need racing games built for split screen, action games designed for 2 players, RPGs with meaningful co-op, and I only wrote that down because that's like not a necessity, that's more of a want. But could you imagine split screen Elden Ring? Or split screen Ninja Gaiden? Or split screen Devil May Cry? That would be crazy. And then more shooters that let you share a screen again. And I see that coming back. That's cool. But like split screen Overwatch, I don't know if that's a thing. If it is, enlighten me. But that would be cool. But gaming is better when it's shared. I don't want to have to be in 2 different houses to enjoy a game with my friends. That's not right. So I'm going to end this episode by asking you, what's your favorite couch co-op memory? What kind of co-op game do you want to see in the future? Would you rather have split screen shooters, RPGs and party games or fighters? Or would you just like more split screen games in general? And also, what studios do you trust to bring couch co-op back? Nintendo, they are strong with couch co-op. And I'm a PlayStation guy, but I will say this. Nintendo has a staple because it has the couch co-op game on lockdown. You can play almost any Nintendo game, and there is a couch co-op mode. So Nintendo has that solid. Capcom, what are you doing? Indie studios. Somebody else. If developers are listening, what would it take for you to prioritize couch co-op again? Because this part of gaming matters, and I'm not ready to let it die quietly. So, that's my little spiel about couch co-op. I didn't mean to rant or yell, but I had to get that shit off of my chest because I'm tired of it. I am tired of it. But, if you like this episode, share it with somebody you used to sit on the couch with. So stay safe. And this was the Home for Infinite Losers podcast. I'll see y'all next time.